What is going on, beautiful people? It is Thursday and just ran some errands, got my hair cut, and actually about to be on the phone with my favorite scrub company, someone I've been wanting to work with for a long time, and finally getting the opportunity to talk to them on the phone and possibly become a brand ambassador. You've seen me wear their scrubs all the time. You see me wear their scrubs in all my pictures. Thursdays this month of the month of August have been my days off, actually. So I'm in family med. It's been really great, but my preceptor, he only works Monday through Wednesday and Friday. So I have Thursdays off and the weekends off. So it's been really nice to have a Thursday to catch up on studying, just run errands and, you know, clean up around the house, things like that. And it makes the work week like way shorter. So if I ever have the opportunity to have like a 4-day work week, I'm definitely gonna take it. It's not as common in like family med or adult med, but something that hopefully gets implemented in the future. Whoever came up with the 5-day work week. I also don't have an EOR this month. It's my elective. I chose to do another family med just so that I can be best prepared when I graduate, can start working right away once I finish getting licensed and, you know, hit the ground running. Gonna hop on that phone call, probably head to the gym and study for the rest of the night. All right, good morning. It is Friday, August 23rd, and I'm running a little bit late, so I'm not gonna be talking too much. I am headed into my family medicine clinic. It is actually 25 minutes away from where I live. It's all freeway, but no traffic, and actually somewhere potentially I may be working at the clinic. So I'm running late, so I'm gonna grab everything that I need and then head out.
One week later.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy James, aka JMK. This month has actually been very stressful and a lot of family stuff that I had to deal with, so it's been very busy. It was actually my elective month for August, so I didn't have an end of rotation exam. I did have my last OSCE, which I had a few days ago, or yesterday, and it went okay. I have 2 months before graduation, but I just wanted to let you guys know, sorry again for not posting a lot of videos this month, or any, really. It was a tough month for me and my family, but yeah, just, you know, gotta power through and make the most of every situation that you're in, make the most of the time you have with the people that, that you love. And as you guys can see, I am rocking an LA Dodgers hat. I'm not a Dodgers fan, but obviously I like the hat, and I'm a SoCal boy, went to school in San Diego, and you know, K-Town is in LA as well. I'm Korean. I like K-Town a lot, so. In today's video, I'm gonna be going over the best resources and the resources I used during didactic year of PA school. Here we go. So I'm gonna be going over a number of resources, but a lot of them aren't physical resources. A few of them are, but a lot of them are actually, you know, online resources that I found very helpful. I think the #1 resource for didactic year is your lectures. So most of your exams are gonna be based off of probably the lectures that you received from professors in your program. So your #1 resource for your exams during didactic are gonna be your lectures given in PA school. And so for my program, a lot of our lectures were PowerPoint based. Most of them were actually PowerPoint based. So what I would do is I would have the slide open, or I would have the PowerPoint open and take notes on the computer while the professor is going over the lecture. And if that's kind of how the style of your school teaches, then I would go ahead and review the PowerPoint before the lecture so you have an idea of what's being taught. It's hard to not get behind in PA school, and so that was something that I don't think I did a very good job of, is previewing lectures before the actual lecture was given. When you're in lecture, you're learning it for the first time, but if you preview it, you're seeing it for the second time, and actually you probably will digest it better and retain more information. So I recommend lectures are your #1 resource for your didactic exams and for didactic year, because most of your exams will be based off of the lectures given from your professors. Preview the lectures, try to review the material the same day that you learn it as well, and try not to get too behind. So that was the first resource, and not necessarily the most important in terms of being an overall clinician, but to do well in PA school exams, I think going over those lectures are probably the best thing to do. The second best resource I have right here, and you guys are probably very familiar with it, is Pants Prep Pearls. And I'm not getting sponsored or paid to talk about any of these resources, but these are all things that I think are going to be helpful to you as a PA student in didactic year, and were helpful for me as well. So Pants Prep Pearls, obviously the holy grail of PA school. Everything high yield you need to know about pretty much every topic that's covered on the pants. Another one of my classmates split her book in half, so I thought that was really neat too, because this is a pretty big and thick resource to carry around, and it's not super heavy, but it's still heavy to like throw in your backpack along with your laptop. So splitting it in half is actually a good idea as well. But for me, I just kept everything together as one. This is more so for your clinical med courses that you take during PA school and during your didactic year, because this is not going to help you with really too much of your basic sciences like anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, because this is all clinical medicine. When you do start your clinical med, or whatever you guys call that course, going over diseases, symptoms, treatment, this is going to be the best resource for that, because it's very high yield. And again, I really like this, and I actually made some charts based off Pants Prep Pearls, and it's been super helpful, but it's not terribly in-depth. Again, like I mentioned, it's very high yield, and so you'll know everything you need to know, but to get kind of that greater breadth of knowledge, I don't know if it covers, everything to a good extent in that sense. Something that I think every PA student should have and look over at least once, and if you have any questions about any topics, they're usually in there. So Pants Prep Pearls, another great resource to have, mainly for your clinical medicine courses. And kind of touching on the basic sciences, like I mentioned, Pants Prep Pearls isn't necessarily the greatest for that. Courses like anatomy, biochem, physiology, things like that, I recommend, again, your lectures are probably going to be your top resource for that, but things for like anatomy, definitely make use of the cadaver lab. Try to go in as much as you can. You'll probably have an anatomy practical, and so how our program does it, we have like 4 to 6 cadavers that the PA students got to practice on and study up on, and those same exact cadavers were used for the practical. So for the practical, they'll put a little sticky or something on a muscle, on a nerve, on a bone, things like that, and you'll have to identify it. And it's really great to get familiar with your actual cadavers. There's a lot of anatomy apps you can use, which are very helpful as well, which I recommend. None that I recommend specifically, but nice to have kind of just on hand. And the cadavers that you have in your classrooms or whatever, the anatomy lab, are going to be the best resource, because most likely the practical is going to be using those same cadavers. I also think it's very important to use your specific cadavers, or all of them, because not every human body is the same, and different body parts, different musculature, things like that, anatomy, they're different for each person. So it's nice to get familiar with each of the cadavers. Don't just spend all your time on one. If you have 6 in the room, try to spend as much time with each one as possible. And the last physical resource that I actually recommend you to get if you're still early on is this First Aid USMLE Step 1 board review book. Again, it's very high yield. And the reason I really like this is because it does go over kind of more of the physiology, the foundation of different disease processes, as opposed to Pants Prep Pearls, which only goes over like 1 or 2 sentences describing the pathophys. This actually has more in-depth descriptions, explanations, things like that, to really understand the actual physiology. Because here's what it is. In PA school, you're learning so much information in a short period of time. You're not gonna be able to get as in-depth as maybe like a med student who has more time, obviously, in class. So a lot of the knowledge that we learn is gonna be superficial. And I think it's really important to get the foundational information down, just so that when you are talking about a condition or a disease to a patient, you're able to actually explain what's going on physiologically. And so I like this book. I haven't gone over it too much, but I've gone over it a decent amount, and I like the explanations. Very high yield. Again, this is like the Bible for med students when they take the Step 1, their boards. So I think this is a great resource to have during your didactic year and even during your clinical year as well. So Pants Prep Pearls and this First Aid Step 1 resource are some physical resources that I definitely recommend for didactic students to have. And now I'll move on towards online resources, videos, things like that. Right. So in terms of learning information in PA school, I will tell you that I've learned a lot from YouTube videos and different online video resources. I would say that I'm a fairly visual learner. I can read a book or like read information from a textbook and still retain it decently.
Nope.
But I think visualizing it and seeing a video is also very helpful to kind of supplement the knowledge. And some that I recommend are Sketchy Medical and specifically Sketchy Farm. It's just a great way to kind of learn all the pharmacology, all the background and all the information and the high yield stuff you need to know about pharmacology, the different drugs, their mechanism of action, side effects. I thought it was a great resource as well. I need to kind of review it as well again, just so that I have it fresh before I take the pants. Another online resource that I like is Online MedEd. It's a, again, clinical medicine based resource. I think they actually do have some basic science stuff as well, but I would really recommend it for clinical med as well. It's very high yield and it's just going over just all the high yield stuff and things you need to know for boards, things like that. So Online MedEd is something that I used as well and a lot of my classmates used, and I would recommend if you ever see a sale to purchase it. And another online resource that I used was like Osmosis, and mainly through YouTube. I know Osmosis has their own little website with videos and stuff, but you can find a lot of Osmosis free videos on YouTube, and that's what I did. And the thing I like about Osmosis is it's very simple and it's simplified, and it simplifies everything, so it's not too in-depth, but it helps you to just get a general understanding and a broad picture of what you're trying to learn or what you're looking up. And it's just simplified and just a good way to kind of get an introductory refresher or introduction to whatever you're trying to look up. So I like Osmosis in that sense as well. So YouTube videos were very helpful in learning a lot of different things, visualizing a lot of different disease processes, procedures, treatments, things like that. So I definitely recommend, if you are a visual learner, to look up YouTube videos of the things that you're learning, because there's so many videos on each topic in medicine, and I think just being able to digest it in another way is a great way for you to really retain the information and know it for boards and then know it for clinical practice. A lot of the basic sciences, I really liked Armando Hasudanan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's actually, I think he was a med student. I don't know if he's a resident now or fellow or if he's an attending or whatever, but he was a med student, I think, in the past. Armando Hasudanan. I know when he introduces himself in each video, he goes, "This is Armando Hasudanan," but I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I'll leave his link in the description below. He has really great videos going over a lot of the pathways, describing different mechanisms, different disease processes, and again, it's another visual stimuli. So Armando Hasudanan. I'll just type that right there. Armando Hasudanan. Yeah. For me, it was really helpful to look up treatments that were procedure-based, just so that you can get a visualization of what is actually going on and what the procedure is actually composed of. And I think that helps actually just learn the overall condition as well when you see the procedure being done to correct whatever condition or disease is being fixed or treated. YouTubing procedure videos, I think, is a great way to learn treatment plan, things like that. And the last resource I recommend is Roche Review. So we actually got access to Roche Review and were recommended to buy it from our whole PA program. So pretty much everyone in our class has Roche Review, and they're just practice questions, clinical med practice questions. We started the last didactic semester. That's when we got access to it, or they recommended us to get it then. And so we started doing practice questions then. But I think you can get it earlier on, and it's really just kind of, vignette style questions and very high yield questions. And so once you start using Roche Review and answer questions, the questions are gonna be based on a specific condition. And once you answer the question, it's gonna give you a little bit of a lecture or information based on whatever the condition that's being covered. This is my classmate, by the way, don't worry. Yeah, so Roche Review is really good to practice clinical med-based questions. But yeah, those are the resources I use during my didactic year, and Roche Review is something I use more during clinical year as well. So I'm gonna be going over my clinical resources and things that I used in another video, but thank you guys for watching. If you do have any resources that you use during didactic year that you found helpful, let me know in the comments down below. Please like the video to show support, subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to be like my blood type, be positive. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.